Hi everyone, thank you for watching my promotional video for Art History 1. My name is Idania and my art exhibition is on Encountering Sacred Authority and Becoming Pilgrim, Authority and Identity Through Artwork Along the Road to Santiago. Here is a picture of the final destination of the Camino, the Cathedral of Santiago de Compostela. So what is the route to Santiago de Compostela, you might ask, and why were pilgrims walking it? The Camino to Santiago de Compostela is a network of pilgrimage routes leading to the shrine of Saint James the Greater in northwestern Spain. During the Middle Ages, Christians traveled the route to seek forgiveness of sins, fulfill religious vows, ask for miracles, and strengthen their faith. Along the journey, churches, monasteries, shrines, and religious artworks guided pilgrims by teaching Christian beliefs, encouraging devotion, and reinforcing the authority of the church. Here's a pretty cool picture of the Camino to Santiago with some important monuments and religious sites along the way. Now, how did religious artwork along the Camino influence both the church and individual pilgrims? Throughout the Camino to Santiago de Compostela, religious artworks were used to demonstrate the power and authority of the church by teaching Christian beliefs and encouraging devotion. At the same time, these artworks often took on personal meaning for individual pilgrims, representing their faith, spiritual growth, and memories of the journey. Together, they show how art influenced both religious authority and personal identity along the pilgrimage route. Here is a picture of what looks like to be pilgrims arriving at a religious site, decorated with sculptures, and you can see in the right-hand corner a pilgrim shell badge, which I will go into depth on a later slide. So, which artworks represent religious authority and which represent the identity of pilgrims along the Camino de Santiago? To name a few, religious authority is represented through the tympanum of Saint Pierre, the reliquary of Saint Foy, and the pantocrator of Saint Clement de Taul, which taught pilgrims about Christian beliefs and the power of the Church. In contrast, the Virgin de la Rosa, the Liber Sancti Jacobi, and the pilgrim badges and ampullae reflect how pilgrims developed their own identities through their experiences, devotion, and memories of the pilgrimage. Here is an image of the tympanum of Saint Pierre. It shows Christ in the center, surrounded by 24 elders. The 24 elders are the 12 tribes of Israel and the 12 apostles, and they represent order in heaven and divine authority. It portrays how religious leaders taught travelers that the church authority reflects Christ's authority over heaven and earth. Next, we have the reliquary statue of Saint Foy. Instead of portraying the saint as a simple martyr, the figure appears to be of importance and powerful. The reliquary statue is made of gold, silver, gemstones, and relics. It shows a saint seated on the throne and demonstrates the church's wealth and power. The last example of authority in religious art along the Camino to Santiago is the Pantocrator of Saint Clement. Similar to the tympanum, the Pantocrator shows Christ in the center. It was painted as a fresco above the altar in the front and center of the church, reminding worshippers of the church's connection to divinity and their role as a guide to salvation. Today, it is preserved in the National Art Museum of Catalonia. Next, we have the examples of artwork that reflect the identity of pilgrims. First up, we have the Virgin de la Rosa. Unlike the reliquary statue of Saint Foy, the Virgin de la Rosa is carved from wood and was painted in bright colors, which made the figure appear to be more approachable and lifelike to viewers. The sculpture of Mary holding her child portrays her humanity and compassion, which could have encouraged pilgrims to reflect on their own experiences, have a personal understanding of faith by making personal connections, and helped shape their identities as pilgrims. Next, we have the Liber Sancti Jacobi in the Codex Calixtinus. It is a manuscript full of writings and images that guided pilgrims on their journey to Santiago de Compostela. Book 5 of this manuscript encouraged travelers to connect with different communities and warned them of dangers to avoid. The illuminated manuscript shows how pilgrims developed their own sense of identity through travel and interactions with the world around them. And finally, we have the pilgrim badges and ampule. Pilgrim badges were small portable objects that were made of lead alloy and displayed on clothing or hats. The ampule were small decorated flasks that were used to hold holy water or religious oils. Like souvenirs, they allow travelers to express and display their identity, personal journeys, personal connections, and held memories when they returned home. These pilgrim badges and ampule are now preserved at the British Museum. You might be thinking, these artworks are from long ago. Why is the Camino de Santiago and its artworks still important today? The artwork along the Camino shows how art can shape both institutions and individuals. While these works reinforce the authority of the Church, they also helped pilgrims create personal meaning from their journeys. The Camino remains popular today, and it demonstrates the impact of these artworks and the universal human desire for identity, community, and spiritual connection. On that note, we will end with the key takeaway. Art did more than decorate the pilgrimage, it guided belief, inspired devotion, and shaped identity. Thank you for listening.